And welcome, friends, to your yoga class. Coming at you live from mi casa. My name is Jenny. This is a core and restore class. We will be coming, with the state of emergency in Utah. We are offering only online classes, so that is why you are seeing me in my home. And we'll be doing this for at least this week, and after that we'll kind of reevaluate, see where we're at. Maybe we start bringing back in-person classes, and maybe we don't. We'll see how it goes and what feels safe. Safety is our number one concern. We are, we just want to make sure that our community is safe and healthy as they practice yoga. So, welcome to my home. So, core and restore. Today we're really going to be putting an emphasis on the core part. Really working on activation and moving from that strength in the core. And then after we fire up that belly and build some strength and flexibility there, then we'll get into the restore part, which is just a nice, chill, holding stretches a little bit longer, kind of relaxing, a little more meditative. And for that part, props can be nice. I've got my trusty bolster, which is one of my all-time favorite props. You can also substitute this with couch cushions, pillows, even like one of those full body pillows, or just a larger blanket. Blocks, 1 or 2 are handy. I've just got one. This can also be good for your physical, through your kind of the core part, for some standing poses, and I'll kind of direct a little bit of how to use these. But you can substitute these with a book or a stack of books or something to just give you a little length or a little support, or sometimes just bring the ground closer. And then blankets are a good idea. I will suggest grabbing a blanket or a thin pillow, because we are going to be doing a lot of work on the knees, so I want you to pad your knees. So, and then in the Shavasana part, just wrapping up in a blanket can be nice, or putting it on your mat for a little extra padding. It can also be nice to lift the booty and other ways. So throughout the practice, I'll be giving ways to use props when it feels right. And in the restore part, again, you can use props for anything. So before we jump into our practice, one thing that I want to kind of focus on with the engagement of the core is this action. So there's a few different cues to get kind of the same thing. So as you're standing, or as I'm standing, kind of, regular, to get some core engagement, my tailbone kind of kicks out a little bit, not full on duck butt, but just kind of that natural curvature. So for some core engagement, one thing to do is lengthen the tailbone down. And it's just a subtle little lengthen there. We're not like sending the hips forward and, being awkward raptor, I don't know, but we're not sending it so far that the hips shift forward and we feel like we need to arch. Just a little lengthening, and we're not doing it so much that we take that whole curve out of the spine, but just a subtleness there, okay? Another way to describe that same motion is, instead of thinking of lengthening the tailbone down, bringing awareness to the hip bones and bringing the hip bones and the ribs together. So that tilts the front of the pelvis up, okay? So that's another way to kind of, it's that same movement, that either lengthening the tailbone down or drawing the hip bones up, okay? And then the second part to that is the activation of the belly. So drawing the belly in, draw the belly button in towards the spine and up towards the heart. That really brings in engagement there. And then there's also a natural hugging in of the ribs, so that we're getting that pull from both sides. And then with that tuck, we're getting that directional pull from the front and back. So we're really focusing on drawing that energy in from all sides with that activation, with that tilt of the pelvis, drawing the belly in, getting that full activation. And we'll be coming back to this position. We want to initiate that before initiating any other movement. So whether it's standing, seated, lying down, hands and knees, whatever it is, that's the core activation that we're looking for. All right, so let's jump into it. We'll start just by getting nice and grounded. Take a comfortable seated position, whatever that looks like for you. I personally like to sit up on a prop, so I'm sitting on my bolster. You can sit on a blanket, on a block, anything like that. That's really nice, especially if you have tight hips or a tight low back, And when you sit down regularly, if you feel like you kind of have to round out or lean back, we want to try to bring the spine in line so that the hips and shoulders are stacked. And sometimes that little lift of the booty can help facilitate that, just creating more space in the hips. So take your time to settle in. Find the connection to your sits bones, really ground down, find that squaring through the hips. Use that as your base to lengthen out through the crown of the head. You can close the eyes or soften the gaze. Hands can fall wherever on the legs, alongside the body, or settled in the lap. You can even bring them to heart center if that feels a little more grounding, a little more intentional for you. And here, as we start to ground, start to connect to that center. Start to draw the belly button in. Start to hug the ribs in. Start to really connect to your belly, to that strength in your center. And then just start to notice, start to observe. Maybe starting on the physical plane. Checking in with the body, noticing how you're feeling today, where you're feeling it, if you're feeling a little stiff and rigid, if you're feeling a little loosey-goosey. Definitely holding space for any injuries or ailments that you're carrying with you today. And just really checking in. That's really all this is, just gathering information of where you are mentally, emotionally, physically, so that we can find that place that we're starting our practice from. A very mindful place, being aware of what's going on, the full picture. And as we continue to observe, remembering that we are the observer. We are not our body, we are not our thoughts, we are not our emotions. We are the ones experiencing those things. And you can't be something that you can observe. So just continue to gather that information as you start to connect to your breath. Perhaps it's that connection is simple observation of the breath. Noticing the depth, the quality, the temperature, the texture. Perhaps you want to bring another layer of connection to your breath by deepening the breath, taking intentionally longer inhales, extending out the exhales. We are coming off of a super new moon in Scorpio. Without getting too witchy about it, new moons are always a chance for rebirth, for releasing what we don't want to carry forward into the next cycle. Excuse me. And with it being in Scorpio, Scorpio is the sign of transformation. And not only is it represented by the scorpion who can shed its skin and leave that past life behind him, but is also representative by the sign of the phoenix. The bird that burns and rises from the ashes. So maybe channeling a little bit of that energy, this idea of just this opportunity to check in, to leave behind what we don't want, and to move forward into the next cycle with space for new creation, new energy, creating space for the good. As you continue to deepen your breath, maybe you want to play with Ujjayi Breathing, just adding again another layer of connection to your breath. And that's done by activating the muscles in the back of the throat. This is a very traditional pranayama that is done in almost every yoga practice, and it can be one of the most challenging parts of your practice. But activating those muscles, the ones you use when you're fogging up a window, that kind of sound. As you breathe in and out of the nose, it creates this beautiful audible quality to the breath, and just another way for the mind to tune into. Another way to help bring calm and ease into the body. So continue to gather information, checking in with the body, connecting to the breath, observing the thoughts, and without getting attached. Being the container for all of this without getting contained by it. Beautiful work. Just a couple more rounds of breath here as we settle in. Maybe even setting an intention for your practice if you'd like. And as we begin our physical practice, know that I will be giving lots of options for you to explore. And this is all just with the intention of allowing you, or giving you options so that you feel like you can take control of your practice, giving you autonomy within your practice. It's not to overwhelm you, it's not to make you feel like you have to try every single option that I'm giving, and know that they're not ranked good, better, best. This is just different ways for different people to explore their practice, because it is such an individual practice. My practice is going to look different from yours versus anyone else's. So just keep that in mind. And if what I say doesn't feel right for you, don't do it. Beautiful work. As you feel ready, if you were sitting cross-legged and need to shake out through the legs, feel free to stretch them out, shake them out. Maybe the legs are falling asleep there. And then, as you feel ready, we're gonna meet up in hands and knees. So this is where I'd like you to bring in a blanket or doubling up on the mat. Even if you don't have bad knees now, your future knees will thank you. So bring in a little padding here. Coming into our tabletop, take some time to set this up. Really plant the hands spreading out through the fingers. And then just kind of notice where the hands naturally go. They may automatically come wrist directly underneath the shoulders, which is a common cue for this pose. But that sometimes doesn't feel awesome. That's a pretty harsh angle on the wrists, might not accommodate for, the size of your chest. So you can take the hands out wider. You can turn the fingers out. I sometimes like to walk my hands forward so that there's less of an angle there, and point my pointer fingers forward instead of my middle finger. And that little action can take a lot of pain off of the wrists. All right, then we've got the knees stacked over the hips, so the knees are only hip distance. We're pointing the toes, pressing into the tops of the feet. Now find at first, so we're in just kind of this neutral spine here. Now let's bring in that activation. Find that lengthening through the tailbone, the drawing of the hips up towards the ribs, and draw that belly button in. So we go from just kind of relaxed here to that active there. All right, hopefully you guys can see that. I know it might be a little dark, and since I wear all black, sometimes there's not a lot of contrast there. But so we've got that lengthening out. And then the gaze is towards the ground so that the neck is just a continued extension of the spine. So we're looking for length in the spine and support from the core. All right, we're pressing the ground away. We're not dropping the chest down towards the ground, but we're lifting through the back of the heart. All right, so we're fully engaged here, pressing into the hands, pressing into the feet. Even just in this static pose, you might start to feel a little shaking in the body, feeling some activation here. That is fantastic. All right, now, if you are ready, we're just gonna walk the right hand forward and maybe tent up on the hands and coming about onto the fingertips. And then we're going to extend the left leg back. And we wanna do this without shifting the hips over towards the right, so keep the hips nice and square. Continue to find that core engagement, belly drawing in, ribs hugging in. Awesome work. Now from here, maybe you start to play with just raising the arm, extending the arm out. Maybe the arm stays down and you play with just extending the left leg, just as high as the hips. We don't want to bring that leg higher, which creates that kind of arch in the back. So for this exercise, we just want the shin parallel to the ground. Maybe you start to play with extending both, finding bird dog. Find that engagement in the core. That is going to make all the difference here. And then try to find an even distribution of weight into the left hand right knee and right foot, and then using the extended limbs kind of as leverage here. Fantastic work. Continue to breathe, continue to extend. If you're working with just one at a time, switch it out. So if you were just extending through the right arm, set the arm down and extend through the left leg. Left hip bone is shining down towards the ground. Toes are active, so they're flexed back. Awesome work. Again, in this static hold, we are activated. There might be some shaking in the body. I'm already starting to produce some sweat, so even though it doesn't look like much, it is. Challenging the balance. Awesome work. You can stay here, or if you want just a little bit more. Inhale to lengthen out through the limbs. Exhale, draw the elbow and knee together as that belly button continues to draw in and up and you round out in the spine. Inhale, re-extend. Exhale, elbow to knee, nice and slow. From that, strengthen the core. Inhale, re-extend. Make sure that belly's drawing in, ribs hugging in. Last one. Exhale, elbow and knee come together. Inhale, re-extend and hold. Now, if you want here, we're going to open up. So we're going to bend that right elbow, taking the arm parallel to the ground. We're going to bend the left knee, trying to take the thigh parallel to the ground. Inhale, re-extend. Exhale, bend knee, bend elbow, take it to the opposite sides. Awesome work. One more. Inhale, re-extend. And exhale, bend the knee, bend the elbow. Inhale, re-extend. Exhale, set the right hand down. Set the left knee down. Send the hips back into a child's pose. Awesome work. Let the head drop down towards the ground. It's okay if it doesn't touch. Feel the body. Feel that heat that we've been building. Awesome work. You can shake out the head, yes and no, if that feels good. Maybe even turning the palms up, allowing the shoulders to roll out, giving the upper back a little break there. All right, when you're ready, let's take this to the other side. So we're coming back up to hands and knees. Find that length in the spine. Find that little tuck through the tailbone as the hips draw up towards the ribs. Belly draws in, ribs hug in. So we've got that full core engagement. We're pressing the ground away, lifting through the back of the heart. So again, that chest isn't dropping down, nice and lifted. We're pressing into the tops of the feet. Fantastic work. From that, strengthen the core. Walk the left hand forward. Again, maybe you tent up onto the fingers. If it feels good and feels accessible, step that right foot back, keeping the toes on the ground at first. And then feel into this. Find that weight distribution. Notice if the hips shift over towards the left, drawn back in towards center. Right hip bone shining down towards the ground. Now here, from that activation in the core, belly drawing in, ribs hugging in. If you would like, maybe play with extending the left arm out. Maybe play with raising that right leg up. Again, not higher than the hip so that we dip down, but that the shin is parallel to the ground, toes pointing down. Maybe you start to play with both. Left arm, right leg extending. Active through the fingers, active in the toes. Notice the weight distribution in the right hand and the left knee pressing into the top of the left foot. Draw that belly in, ribs hug in, gaze towards the ground. Awesome work. Play with this, with one, raising one at a time, however you'd like. If you do want to take it a little bit further, a few more rounds here. Embrace the shake. Embrace that heat rising in the body. If you want that core work, inhale to lengthen. Exhale, elbow and knee draw together, belly draws in and up as you round out in the spine. Inhale, re-extend nice and slow. Controlled movements here. Exhale, elbow and knee draw together. Again, inhale, re-extend. Last one here. Exhale, elbow and knee draw together. Inhale, re-extend. Pause here. Now this next movement can be done just with the arm, just with the leg, or both combined. So we're inhaling to lengthen. Exhale, we're bending the left elbow, arm comes parallel as possible. Bending the left or right knee, and the inner thigh comes as parallel as possible. Inhale, re-extend. Exhale, bend and open. Find the breath. Last one, nice and slow. Inhale, re-extend, lengthen out. Exhale, elbow and knee bend. Nice. Inhale, re-extend. And exhale, release the limbs. Send the hips back. Find another child's pose. Whoo-wee. Isn't it amazing that just, we haven't even gotten into a flow or anything and we're still building up that heat, finding that activation, embracing the shake in the body. That is the body getting stronger. Fantastic work. All right, when you're ready, we're coming back up to hands and knees. And just for a little release here, we're going to do some cat-cow, but don't release that engagement in the core. So continue to draw the belly up. On the inhale, this is where the challenge is. As we tilt the pelvis down and allow the belly to lower, heart shining forward, don't disengage to where the belly just drops. We still want that support for the spine here. And then this part is a little easier on the exhale, drawing that belly in and then letting, almost like there's a string, drawing your belly up towards the sky, and you round out through the spine, tuck through the chin, tuck through the toe. A few more rounds like this. So moving through our cat-cow, but still having that full core engagement. Whew. Awesome work. All right, when you're ready, we're going to come back to a neutral spine. So we've got that lengthening through the tailbone, belly drawing in, ribs hugging in. Now we're going to kickstand the right toes out towards the right. We're going to bring the right hand in line with the right knee. And we're going to extend the left toes back and the left toes in line with the right knee. So you've got right hand, right knee, left toes, all in one line. And then inhale to start to open up through that left arm, opening up to a side plank variation. Fantastic work. Opening up through the chest. We're still pressing into that right hand. So we're not collapsing into the shoulder, but we've got that lift and extension here. And then if it would feel good and accessible, you can start to hover that the left foot. And it only comes as high as parallel, but it's okay if it just hovers a little bit off the ground. Whew, fantastic work. Again, embracing the shake, drawing belly in. We've still got the ribs and the hips drawing together. So we're not opening up and arching. We've got this nice straight line. All right, if you'd like, extend that left arm overhead, bicep by the ear. And then if you want to work a little side crunching here, a little oblique work. Again, the foot could be down. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, elbow and knee come together. Move from the strength in the obliques. Inhale, re-extend. I know this looks awkward, but so is life. Yoga is a reflection of life. Exhale, knee to elbow. One more. Inhale, re-extend. Exhale, knee to elbow. Whoo-wee. Awesome work. Inhale, re-extend. Set the left foot down. And then from the strength in the core, we're going to inhale to reach that left arm back up towards the sky, and then continue to raise up towards center. So you've still got that left leg extended, bringing the spine up, and then exhale, we're going to reverse and open up into gate pose so that right arm reaches up, left arm finds the ground, or reaches towards the ground. Awesome work. Breathe here. When you're ready, we'll find a little flow here. Inhale Come up through center. Exhale, come back into your side plank variation. Hand finds the ground. Right arm could reach up towards the sky. Left foot could stay on the ground. Or it could hover. Fingertips reaching bicep by the ear. And then we'll repeat. Move from that strength in the core, from those obliques. Come up through center. Exhale to gate. Belly drawing in, ribs hug in. Inhale, back up through center. Exhale, the side angle. Awesome work. One more. Inhale, come back up through center. Exhale, open up through gate. I hope my shadow isn't too distracting. I'm still figuring out lighting here. Inhale, come back up through center. Exhale to your side angle. Awesome work. Release the hand down. Draw the left knee back in. And your choice here, if you want to send the hips back to another child's pose, or if you want to prop the toes, plant the hands, lengthen through the spine, start to hover the knees, lift the hips, and downward dog. I hate when people say that downward dog is a resting pose, but for this purpose, it could be if you want downward dog or if you want child's pose. Your choice. Yogi's choice, as always. Do what feels right for you. All right. When you're ready, we got that on the other side. So coming back to hands and knees. Just gonna flip around. Okay, so from here, we're going to kickstand the left foot out towards the left. Little extra support here. That left hand is planting, but in line with the left knee. And then we're extending the right toes back so that they're in line. So again, excuse me, left wrist, left knee, right toes, all in line. And then if you like, opening up through the chest, extending that right arm up towards the sky. So we're in this side plank variation. Awesome work. Feel into it on this side. It might feel different. Definitely feels different for me. Kind of feel into that. And then if you want, you can start to activate through the inner right thigh so we can lift that leg. Again, it doesn't come higher than parallel. Left arm can stay reaching or bicep by the ear. Whoo-wee! My legs are shaking. Elvis is in the building. Here we go. All right, so we're gonna take a little flow here. Inhale. We're gonna lower the foot, reach that arm up from the strength in the obliques, coming up through center. Exhale, little reverse action into gate pose. Left arm reaches, right hand drops. Belly drawing in, ribs hugging in, move from the obliques. Inhale, back up through center. Exhale, back to your side plank variation. The hand could plant, the leg could lift, the arm could extend, or none of the above, or all of the above, whichever you like. 2 more rounds. Plant the foot, coming back up through center, nice and slow, from that engagement in the core. Exhale to gate. Inhale through center. Last one. Plant the hand. Maybe lift the leg. Maybe the arm extends. Nice and slow from the strength in those obliques. Come back up through center. Open up to gate. I did forget one thing. We'll come back to it. Inhale to center and exhale. Pause here. Again, maybe that arm extends. Maybe the leg extends. Now, bringing in those side crunches. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, elbow to knee. Embrace the awkward. Yeah. Inhale, re-extend. Exhale, elbow and knee. Ooh, from the obliques. Last one, inhale, re-extend. Exhale, elbow to knee. Yeah. Inhale, re-extend. Exhale, release the hand. Release the knees. Feet come in line with the knees. Again, your choice. Send it back to child's pose or send it to upward dog. An upward dog, maybe pedaling out through the feet. And in upward dog, if you're taking that, find that same core activation. Belly drawing in, ribs hugging in. Nice work. And guess what? Core work is not quite over yet. Almost there. So when you're ready, we're going to drop the knees. And we're going to find a seat. Or if you're in child's pose, come up to hands and knees. Find a seat. Have some space back behind you. My iPad that holds my microphone does not want to stay up. Go. All right, clear the mat. Make sure you no props there. We're going to have the legs extended. So once again, belly drawing in, ribs hugging in. We've got that natural tilt of the pelvis here because we're seated. Lengthen up through the crown of the head. Arms can extend out like a zombie. They can come to the ground or behind you for support, whichever you'd like. So we're going to inhale to lengthen, belly drawing in, ribs hugging in, find that core strength. And then with that engagement, start to lie back. We're keeping the spine straight for as long as we can. So we're like a reverse zombie going back into its grave. And then when you absolutely have to, start to curl through the low back, rounding out, letting one vertebrae at a time down. Whew, I am shaking. All right, send it all the way down to the ground. Reach the arms overhead. Nice big good morning stretch. Oh, this feels so good. Rolling out through the wrists and ankles, wiggling through the fingers, through the toes. All right, then, nice and slow, bend the knees, plant the feet. Lift the hips, find that lengthening of the tailbone down so that the hip bones, again, are coming up towards the ribs. And then set the hips down, all right? So we've got that tilting of the hips. Draw the belly in, hug ribs in. Nice, we've got that full core activation here. Hands interlace behind the head, open up through the arms, lift the chin up towards the sky, so we've got space in the throat. Now, we're just gonna do some very mindful sit-ups. So drawing belly down, hugging ribs in. Inhale to lift the head, neck, and shoulders up off the ground. And exhale to hold. Inhale, maybe shoulders lift just a little higher. Exhale, hold. Inhale, chin lifting towards the sky, chest opening. And exhale, release down. Awesome work. Once again, inhale, draw belly down, hug ribs in. Nice cleansing exhale here as you open up through the elbows. Inhale from that core, lift the head, neck, and shoulders. Exhale, hold, draw belly down. Inhale, connecting to core, elbows open. Exhale, hold, embracing any shaking in the body. One more deep inhale, planting firmly into the feet. And exhale, release it down. Awesome work for this last round. You can stay as you are or extend the legs up towards the sky, flex the toes back, and then release the legs down to whatever angle works for you without arching through the low back. Inhale, draw belly down, hug ribs in. Exhale here, nice engagement. Inhale, raise the head, neck, and shoulders up off the ground. Elbows open. We're exhaling to hold. Embrace the shake. Inhaling here. Core is engaged, elbows open, chin lifting, exhale to hold. One last deep inhale. And exhale, release the head and shoulders, bend the knees in towards the chest. Awesome work. Plant the feet, release the arms alongside the body. Legs are hip distance, knees are bent, heels walk in towards the glutes. We're gonna bring a puffing up of the chest so that we can tuck the shoulder blades underneath. Kind of imagine that you're trying to pinch a pencil between your shoulder blades to open up through the chest. Plant through the feet. Feel connection to all four corners of the feet. Lift up through the toes, spread them out, and then set them back down. Pressing into the feet and into the shoulders. Slowly start to bring that tilting of the pelvis, so that lengthening of the tailbone down, bringing the hip bones up towards the ribs, and then from that continue to lift the hips up towards bridge pose. Awesome work. Hands can stay where they are. You could bend the elbows, bringing them into robot arms, or you could interlace the hands underneath the low back, finding a bind. You could even puff up the chest even more and tuck the outsides of the shoulders underneath, finding even more opening in the chest. Awesome work. Inner thighs are pressing together, knees drawing together. So notice that the knees want to splay out, or everything should be in line. So the toes, the knees pointing forward. Hips continue to lift. Nice work. This is definitely activating, but we're also stretching through the front side of the core. The chest is lifting towards the chin, while the chin lifts towards the ceiling. So we don't want to compress through the throat. We want to have that opening. Awesome work. One more deep round of breath. Maybe the hips lift just a little higher, pressing into the feet. If you're in the bind, release the hands, untuck through the shoulders, maybe even walk the feet forward just to give you more space. And then on the exhale, slowly lower down, one vertebrae at a time. Fantastic work. As you release the hips, walk the feet out a little wider than hip distance. Take some windshield wipers in this neutral spine. Nice work. And when you're ready, drawing the knees in towards the chest, tucking and lengthening through the tailbone. You can grab onto the tops or outsides of the knees. You could hug the legs in, giving yourself a little squeeze. Maybe a little rocking side to side would feel good here. Just getting some length through the tailbone, a little tucking there, just to kind of unravel from our back bend in our bridge pose. I found a squeaky spot on my floor. Fantastic work. When you're ready, we're going to plant the feet. Just drop the knees to one side, roll onto that side, and then press yourself up. Now for this next part, we're going to get a nice little stretch for the obliques, for the side body, and we're going to do it in a supported way. So I'm going to use my trusty bolster. Again, you can grab pillows, cushions, you can take a large blanket, maybe one probably larger than this, and roll it up. And really what we're looking to do, the idea here, I'll put this here for maybe a little contrast, is that we're gonna drape our side body over our prop, whatever we have here. So as much lift as you want is as much padding as you're gonna put under here. So we're gonna drape it over so that the ribs and the waist are hitting, and then we can drop the head down, the hips are squared. So we get this nice side stretch, this nice opening. So use whatever padding would feel good here. You could extend, it doesn't matter which side you start on. I started on the right side. So then I can extend the right arm out and I can rest my head on the bicep if that feels okay. Or bring in a pillow, a block, any other sort of prop to rest the head down if that feels okay. Or the head could reach towards the ground if that feels good in the neck. Hips are stacked, knees could be stacked, knees could stagger, or legs could extend. Whatever you'd like here, just to get this nice side body stretch. If you aren't playing music and would like to, as we get into our restore part, some mellow ambient music might be nice here. That left arm could just kind of hang out wherever, or it could even reach overhead. Bicep by the ear, or attempting to get near there. You can even grab the left wrist with the right hand, getting a little more side extension here. Lovely. Just a couple more rounds of breath on this side. And then whenever you start to feel complete, no rush at all, but just planting the hands. Moving nice and slow, coming back up to your seat, and then we'll just switch out to the other side. So you can come through the sits bones, maybe take some windshield wipers, some seated cat-cow, anything between sides that might feel really awesome. And whenever you're ready, shifting onto the other side. For me, it's the left side since I started on the right. But so that I don't turn my back to you, I'm just gonna switch over there. All right, so once again, we're on the left side of the hip, and we're gonna drape the left side body over our cushion, bolster, stack of pillows, rolled up blanket, whatever you got going on. And your choice if that right arm extends or left arm extends and you rest the head on the bicep, or if you want to bring in a pillow or a block, something to rest the head, or if you want to let the head hang out. For me, that's a little intense, a little too much on the neck, and it just doesn't feel right for me. But it might feel fantastic for you. And the hips are stacked. Knees could be stacked and bent, legs could stagger, legs could extend out. And that right arm, if you'd like, could reach up and overhead. You could even grab the wrist with that left hand and open up and expand. Trying to get a little more light on me. Breathing into this beautiful opening in the side body, allowing the head to release, getting release through the neck. A couple more rounds of breath here. whenever you start to feel ready, no rush. When you feel complete on this side. And just slowly starting to make your way up. Take it nice and slow. There is no rushing. You can come onto the sits bones. You can take any movements that would feel good here. And then when you feel ready, so we've stretched our side core. We stretch through the back. Now let's stretch through the front side of the core. So we're going to come all the way onto the belly. We're going to come into Sphinx Pose. Blocks can come in handy here. I only have one, but I will show you how to utilize two if you've got them. So, coming to hands and knees, walking the knees back, hands forward, and slowly allowing yourself to lower all the way down to the belly. Now, Sphinx Pose. You plant the forearms. I like to start with my forearms, kind of like Superman out in front of me, spreading out through the hands, forearms pressing down. And then the further you walk the elbows back, the more intense the arch is going to be, and the bigger stretch you're going to get through the core. So take your time to slowly just walk the elbows back. Pause and find how that feels. So the arms are in line with the shoulders, and wherever you pause, draw the elbows towards the body so that the heart can come forward. So you could come as far as elbows underneath the shoulders, shoulders dropping away from the ears, so that we're extending up through the crown of the head. For me, I have chronic low back issues, so this feels a little intense. So I'm going to walk the elbows forward and find an angle for the spine that works for me, that still gives me a nice stretch in the belly without feeling like I'm compromising my low back. Now, if my low back was flaring up, I probably wouldn't even be in the arch. I might just be here with my arms extended, or even just taking the elbows out and resting the head on the ground. Because just lying on the belly itself creates a little arch. This is where blocks could come in handy too, so that you can still get an opening through the chest and that lift without compromising the back. So you can bring in blocks, whatever height, on both sides of the shoulders, and allowing a space for the head. So imagine I had shoulders. Imagine I had blocks for both of my shoulders, and then I would come down and have that support. It's drawing the chest open, so it's still giving that kind of same feeling as, when I'm up and drawing the elbows back, chest shifting forward. Just a little more gentle option. So that is an option as well if you've got two blocks, or books might not be the best substitute because it might not feel good since these blocks have a little bit of cushion, but you can play with that as well. Or again, you could just bend the elbows, plant the hands, stack the knuckles, and rest the forehead down. So in any variation of your Sphinx Pose, we'll take just a few more rounds of breath here. And if you are up in your Sphinx Pose with the elbows planted, notice if the shoulders are creeping up by the ears. We don't want shoulders for earrings. Draw them down, create space in the neck, and continue to let the heart shine forward. Awesome work. And whenever you feel ready, wherever you are, releasing all the way down to the belly, bringing either side of the cheek towards the ground, and maybe even bringing the arms down alongside the body and just kind of chilling out here. Maybe a little shimmy through the hips would feel good, or
bending the knees and taking some gentle windshield wipers side to side. So we took that back bend, hanging out in a neutral spine for a tick, and then we'll counter that with a forward fold in our child's pose. So when you're ready, planting the hands, pressing yourself up through tabletop, and pause here just to kind of feel into this. Maybe shake through the hips, maybe a few gentle cat-cows. Maybe you want to circle through the torso. And then when you feel ready, our final pose before Shavasana, we're going to revisit child's pose. Your choice if the knees stay in line with the feet, or if you want to take the knees out wide, big toes to touch for a wide leg child's pose. One is not better than the other, it's just different sensations. And in your child's pose, allow the head to drop towards the ground. It's okay if it doesn't touch. And if you want it to, fill in that space. Bring in a block or another prop, a pillow, a blanket. Let the arms relax so they could stay extended. You could turn the palms up so the tops of the shoulders roll out. You could even bring the arms back by the feet, palms turned up, and let the shoulders drop down. Oh, this feels so good. Allow the body to release as the hips sink back towards the heels. And allow the pelvis to relax and almost kind of spread out through the low back. Just kind of let it melt. Continue to check in with the body, to check in with the breath, and to observe whatever comes up for you. Couple more rounds of breath here. And as you feel ready, we'll slowly come out of our child's pose. If it feels okay on the knees, walk the hands back and just come up to a hero's pose. If it doesn't feel good to stay on the knees, swing the legs around, come into a seat. You could sit on a prop. And just for good measure, because we got a little extra time, let's just roll out through the neck. So sitting up nice and tall, still find that engagement in the core. It doesn't have to be as extreme, but find support there.
And we want to continue to build support in our core. So inhaling to lengthen up through the crown of the head. Exhale, drop the right ear to the right shoulder. A little gentle nodding through the head. You could also maybe turn the chin down towards the ground and up towards the sky. Just a little ooh, that's enough. Finding a little exploration of that sensation in the outside of the left side of the neck. You can even, if you find a little knot or a little crunchy that needs some work, you can bring in a little massage. And when you're ready to switch it out nice and slow, exhale to drop the chin down towards center. Inhale to draw the head back up towards neutral, sitting up nice and tall. And exhale, left ear towards left shoulder. And just finding a little exploration there if you'd like. Maybe a little rocking of the head back and forth. Maybe a little turning of the chin down towards the shoulder. Or up towards the sky. Ooh, be careful. Move slowly. This is a very common place for tension. Awesome work. When you're ready, again on an exhale, drop the chin down towards the chest. Inhale to lift the head back up towards neutral. And we'll just take some neck rolls. So you can take half neck rolls, again dropping the right ear towards the right shoulder, dropping the chin down towards the chest, rocking over towards the right or towards the left, pausing here, and then just taking it back. So these are half neck rolls. If you want to take the full neck rolls, just be aware that we're looking more for lift in the chin, extension through the throat versus throwing the head back. So we want to protect those delicate bones in the cervical spine, those neck bones. So it's okay if there are, some crunchies, a little snap, crackle, and pop to work out. But we do want to make sure that we are being aware. If you're taking full neck rolls, reverse the direction when you feel ready. Awesome work. This hairstyle makes me feel like I'm like slow motion, whip my hair back and forth. You guys remember that song? Okay, anyways, let's take it. Well, when you're ready, wrap up your little neck exploration, and then we're going to take it into our Shavasana. So if there's any other movements, any other stretches that'll help really round out your practice for you, then feel free to take those. And then when you are ready, we'll settle into our Shavasana. Traditional corpse pose is done on the back, palms turned up, toes turned out. You can use props to support you. You can slide support underneath the knees. You could wrap up in a blanket. And if lying on the back doesn't feel awesome for you today, don't do it. Lie on your side, lie on the belly. Join me in a seated meditation. Whatever feels right for you today. There's no wrong way for you to do your Shavasana. Plus, how am I gonna know? So take your time to settle in, finding your final pose. The final and most important pose. There are multiple reasons that this, at least in my opinion, is the most important pose. And one of those is because it gives us an opportunity to not do anything. How often do we give ourselves permission to do that? Society doesn't give us permission to do that. our jobs, our families, our friends, our obligations, doesn't always give us the opportunity to do that. But your yoga practice does. This pose gives you that opportunity. So take it and make the most of it. Take this time to release the body, to let the breath flow naturally in and out of the body, and to maybe find a little bit of ease in the mind. Stepping outside of all the hats that we wear, all of the roles that we play, and let yourself just be. Allow yourself to be in this moment, to feel your body, to notice your thoughts, to not have to go and do and produce and consume. Just be. Our Shavasana, or corpse pose, is also an homage to death, a very important part of the life cycle, death and rebirth. And it represents the opportunity after each yoga practice to allow a death of ego, a death of confining beliefs, of limiting self-talk, a death of the things that we don't want to carry with us anymore. So when you feel ready, using the power of your Shavasana, underneath the power of the new Scorpio moon, use this opportunity to arise from the ashes, to arise from your metaphorical death on the mat, and to awaken, feeling a little lighter, a little less holding us down, with the opportunity to step into a new cycle, a new birth, new opportunity to create, to explore, to expand, and to evolve. If you have the time and would like to spend more time in your Shavasana, I welcome you to please do that. Give yourself at least 5 more minutes, if not more. Whenever you feel ready, if you are lying down, gently making your way onto one side of the body, gradually pressing yourself up to a comfortable seat. And no rush, taking your time. And once you find your seat, bringing your hands to heart center or taking any other meaningful gesture with the hands, whatever that may be for you today. And wherever you find yourself in this moment, just offer yourself some gratitude for your willingness to step on your mat, for carving out this time for your own self-care, and for being open to the exploration of your yoga practice. Thank you so much for allowing me into your homes today and for allowing me to share this gift of yoga with you. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. I see you, I honor you, and I bow to you. Namaste.